I don't want to talk about politics today. I know you talk about it a lot. I have some questions about your journey, your experience in life. And my first question is, do you trust people or you just know how to check them?
Well, you would like to be able to trust everyone, but unfortunately, that's not the type of society we live in. But I do believe in giving folks an opportunity. I believe in helping folks because someone did it for me. I believe, especially those that are less fortunate. That's something I'm passionate about. The reason I got into politics and education is to pay it forward because someone did it for me. And so there are a lot of folks that have the drive, to further their education or to enter the workforce and make a living wage. And sometimes I think it affords us as leaders to help create that opportunity for these folks. And so that's important to me. That's something that I'm passionate about. I think my core values include respect, accountability, um, customer service, compassion, love. And so I go by those core values every day, and it serves as a guide to me and a reminder that there are those out there that may be less fortunate or that may need a nudge in life. So it affords me the opportunity, being in the position that I am in today, to help those. Because when you help realize opportunities for those that may be less fortunate or those that are looking for an opportunity, all of us, we benefit. Our community benefits from it. We have a stronger, robust economy in our communities. When you're taking someone from $10 an hour to now $70 or $80 an hour, they can pursue the American dream of owning their homes, better providing for their families, or starting their own business. And that's good for the community. And that's good for North Carolina. That's good for these United States.
That's a good answer, but you didn't answer.
Okay.
Do you trust people or check them?
I trust people as much as I can, but yes, I trust people.
What about in the beginning, when you see the person first time? Will you fully trust?
Absolutely. I mean, I have no reason not to. I think if it gets to the point that the person can't be trusted, it would reveal itself. But I have no reason not to trust a person from that first initial meeting.
Is there something about your personality or what helped you succeed but also causes problems in your life?
Maybe I'm too kind. My willingness to go above and beyond to help those that are less fortunate and to help those that are in need. And so I don't know when to quit.
Quit to be kind?
Quit to be kind, quit to realize opportunities, not only for others, but for myself. I work around the clock. If I have my mind set on something or a particular goal, I don't know when to quit until I accomplish that goal.
So you think kindness give you hard time mostly?
No, I don't think it does. I think kindness is an advantage. I think kindness, we need more kindness, especially in this climate. So no, I think kindness is an advantage. I think kindness is good. It's part of my core value.
Okay, so how kindness helped you to be successful?
Because just being and listening to people. One, being a team player, being able to establish relationships, being understanding, and understanding the complexities of situations, instead of just dismissing a situation because it may be or appear to be not good. I believe until the very end that if it's a bad situation, you can make it a good situation. But you have to be kind, you have to be understanding, you have to be patient.
When you have been a mayor, you probably heard a lot of people with their problems. In your opinion, what's the main problem of people?
Well, my opinion, I think the biggest problem is access to an education, access to a stronger or more access to a good workforce, a job opportunities, but also some of the other things in terms of taxes, taxes being too high, and folks wanting their street paved at a certain time. Local government is an interesting opportunity for anyone to serve in local government because the needs are they vary, and so it could be a person seeking to try to realize an educational opportunity, or someone needing their road paved, or having issues with the trash pickup, or concerned about the growth of a community. Some folks may feel the community is growing too fast, and so you're loaded with a lot of these concerns. So it varies. I know you said you asked one particular item, but there's not one in local government. And because local government is broad in terms of meeting the needs of people. And then you have business owners that may have needs. So.
Okay, so let's talk a bit about you. When did you realize that having power doesn't make life easier?
To be honest with you, I don't consider myself as having power. I look at it more as having influence. If I had power, I think our state or our economy will be in a much better position than what it is.
In your understanding, who has the power?
Well, of course, our federal government has the power. The state has the power. As a member of the state or a member of the General Assembly, I just don't deem myself as one that's having power. I deem myself as one that could have influence and serve as a resource, and one that can help solve some of the challenges for my constituency. And that's just my opinion.
I'm interested in your opinion. So, all this does make your life easier?
I think it does, because it's something that I love doing. I love helping people. And since my tenure in the community college, to local government, to now state government, I've been able to help realize opportunities for folks. I've been able to transform lives at the community college. I've been a part of seeing folks go from $10 an hour to now, making 6 figures a year. I've seen folks be able to go to the community college and transfer within 2 to 3 years to a 4-year institution and do it successfully. And so being a part of that transformation That's what gets my juices flowing. Here in the town of Knightdale, when I was serving as the mayor, we created a festival, the Arts and Education Festival, where we created scholarship opportunities for those, especially those from our underserved communities. It's not, that, some folks, they just didn't have the finances to go on to the next level. So we figured if we could partner with the community college, partner with our four-year institution, and just, start out with a small amount of money, getting them in the door, we will figure out a way to make sure that their educational pathway was sustainable. And so I've been a part of that. And when you see people that come back as attorneys, as business owners, and they thank you for, that $1,000 scholarship or that $2,000 scholarship, which gave them an opportunity, that's what excites me about community. That's what makes it all rewarding for me.
But when you're voting, you give your beliefs and it can change someone's life. This not considered like a power for you?
No, not for me. I look at it as being able to help realize opportunities for folks. I just don't look at it as power. I've never looked at it that way, and I think for me, it keeps me grounded. I think sometimes when you take on that, and look, everybody has a different opinion. Some folks embrace that. But for me, it's not about power. For me, it's really about doing the work of the people. And so, again, influencing, serving as a resource, creating opportunities. So if you want to call that power, okay. I look at it as doing what I should be doing and paying it forward.
What is one thing about success that turned out not to be true?
One thing about success that turned out not to be true. For me, not being able to solve all the issues for some of my constituents. Not being able to realize certain opportunities for folks when they're struggling, because it's a much bigger picture. And so I would think that would be it. I think if I deemed myself as being successful, it would be, and this is sort of maybe naive of me, being able to solve all the problems of hunger and struggles that folks are going
through. Do you regret about some of your decisions?
No. I think the decisions that I've made, I think I've done my due diligence and researching before making that decision. I think I checked all the boxes and the resources just to make sure before I make that decision, it's going to be a good, sound decision.
Even if someone wasn't happy?
Well, not everyone is going to be happy, and you're not going to be able to please everyone. But I think most folks will respect you more when you're able to come back and say, this is why I made this decision, to give a compelling argument. So it's not just about one person, where that one person may be upset because he or she may feel that they were not served. But you got maybe 20 other folks that you've been able to realize opportunities for. So as long as I have a good rationale, I can lay my head down at night.
Tell me, how is it to be responsible about someone's happiness and life?
Okay, can you repeat that?
How is it? What do you feel?
About being responsible?
Yes.
Well, I feel good about being in the position that I'm in because I'm coming from a genuine place. And I have the best intentions when it comes to people, when it comes to my community, when it comes to that person with whom I've never met that may be struggling. I think it starts with values. I think it starts with your values. And so for me, I go by those values that I mentioned on the front end of the conversation. And so as long as I'm going by those values,
What mistakes do smart people make all the time?
well, should that what mistake does smart people make all the time? Well, I don't even know if you're asking the right person. I don't consider myself the smartest person in the room. I think, on the outside looking in, I think the mistakes that smart or powerful or whomever, I think the mistakes that they make is being out of touch.
Explain, please.
Well, sometimes we are able to grow professionally, grow successfully, and sometimes we forget where we came from. And we lose sight of the purpose of us being placed in a position where we could help others. Our attitudes may change. So for me, to answer your question, I think sometimes as what we deem as smart people, we make the mistake of thinking we know everything, and we don't. I think the best lesson you can learn is from that person that is struggling. And not by talking down to that person or talking at that person, but listening and learning. Because then when you learn about their struggles, if you're in a leadership position, whether it's in government or education, you will know how to better serve that demographic of folks. And those are the folks that I would like to think that you're trying to help. The community college has been, my community college has been a perfect model for that. We just didn't say we were going to build a campus in every sector of Wake County. We did it because we collected the data. There was a purpose behind it. Take Eastern Wake County. At that time, when this particular campus, the East Campus of Wake Tech, was built, the data was collected, and the data reflected, because of gentrification and other things that had happened, a lot of folks were pushed out this way, and a lot of these folks only had a high school diploma. So not everyone is ready for a four-year institution or a four-year degree, but there are certificate programs, there are two-year programs, there are workforce programs where we can get folks back to work and get them from $10 to $13 an hour to now $70 or $80 an hour. So I think the community college, in my opinion, serves as a model.
Who is considered as a smart, in your opinion?
Who's considered smart? A particular person?
No.
Well, I think our educators are smart. They wouldn't be doing what they're doing if we, didn't have the need for educators. But I would say educators. I would say our doctors, police officers, nurses, engineers, lawyers, in some cases.
All this come from college.
Well, yes, some come, well, maybe some, but I don't think you have to be a graduate of a particular college or university to be smart. I'll share this with you. Growing up, I come from humble beginnings, and there were these store owners growing up that owned a corner store where they had a good relationship with the families in that community. So when families were struggling, they could go get stuff on credit. There was that trust factor there. But a lot of these store owners only had, one in particular had a 6th grade education. But he was smart enough, whereas his business lasted for well over 40 years until he died, the time of his death. And to me, he didn't have to go to college to run a successful business. So, to answer your question, I don't think all smart people have to go through college. You have folks that are business owners that did not go to college, but they had the sense and the knowledge of how to successfully start a business. And a lot of that comes from learning from people in your everyday surroundings. So no, I don't think the smartest people are all college driven. Some of the smartest people may not even have a high school diploma.
What do you think? What people usually realize too late?
What people realize too late? That's a difficult question for me to answer. What people realize too late? I would think that those that are quick to make decisions without doing their homework, or really delving into collecting the data, or talking to key stakeholders, I think those are.
Why?
Well, in our society, it's important, if you're going to be successful in anything that you do, everything that we do is data driven. Everything that we do is connected to key stakeholders or community partners. And a lot of times we look through a myopic lens, or some of us, in making our decisions because we may feel that we're the only one and we know, or we're the smartest one and no one can tell me differently. So this is the path I'm going to take. For me, as a former administrator at the community college, a former mayor, council member, now as a state representative, I don't think I would be where I am if I did not embrace the knowledge and skill sets of those community partners. When I mentioned about the Arts and Educational Festival, it wasn't just me alone. Yes, I led the effort, but we brought together community partners, members from our business communities, our nonprofits, our faith-based community, members in our community in general. So it was a collaborative effort. We have a pickleball facility that before I vacated my position, that we redeveloped our oldest park. It was my vision, yes. However, it was a collaborative effort. Again, we had to get buy-in from our community, our committees, our business community, our faith-based community, educating our educational community. Everybody played a role into the success of this park now being a premier destination and now providing opportunities for folks to focus on their health and wellness. So, for me, that collaboration and bringing in key partners and also exploring and identifying resources that can provide you with important information, whether it's data or the background on whatever you're working on. Those things are important in order for you to be successful and make good sound decisions.
But what about just regular people? What do you think what they realize too late?
It's a difficult question to answer because people, their circumstances are different. And so if you're not put in a position to realize that maybe attending the community college would have benefited me more. The circumstances are different. So if you're in an underserved community and it's a community where folks aren't given the opportunity or access to an education, or if you're in a community where folks don't have access to affordable health care, it's a very broad question and kind of difficult to answer because, you may have some folks, if you ask some folks, they would say, well, I would have focused more on my health before it was too late.
What do you think? Does everybody can change their life?
Do I think everyone can? Absolutely. I think people need an opportunity. I changed my life. I grew up in poverty. No one gave me anything. But I didn't want to stay in poverty. And so my mom, may she rest in peace, instilled in us good values, good work ethics, taught us how to be resourceful. So when we left the nest, we had the opportunity to succeed. I'm living proof of being able to do that. So absolutely, I think anyone can. Again, I think the circumstances can be different. I was fortunate to have a brother that was a first generation college student that went on to get his PhD, who served as my mentor. My mom, who was passionate about education, who was adamant about her boys being respectful to women and that all of her children possessed a good, strong work ethic and good values. So no one is going to give it to you, but you do have that opportunity if you work hard. And so I think for me, being that I've gone through that, I have the opportunity to help those in similar situations, if it's just through meaningful conversations.
But how can the folks change their lives if they don't see those opportunities at all?
I think for us as leaders, in my position, I think we need to do more of an outreach or better outreach to help nudge those folks. That's what we did at the community college. We just didn't sit back and wait for the students to come to us. There was a paradigm shift. So I was over library services in our individualized learning center, where we provided tutorial and remedial support to students. So we didn't wait. The old way of doing it was waiting for the students to come in. You know, if you remember, the traditional librarian would wait behind the desk for you to come and check out a book. When I was an administrator over library services, we changed that shift. We had a paradigm shift where we would go out in the community. Our librarians will serve on chamber boards, they would serve on advisory boards. That way we could tell our stories, that way we could help recruit and help create a pathway for those that said, well, I can't afford to go to the community college. Well, yeah, you can. This is what we can do for you.
So for you to change their lives starts from community college.
Mm-hmm.
If people doesn't have any opportunities or doesn't see that, so the best way is to start from community college, correct?
In my opinion, yes, because being a member of the community college, I've seen what the community college is able to do. I've seen a student come in from high school with a 1.8 GPA, and by the time he graduated, he was leaving Wake Tech with a 3.8 GPA, accepted to NC State. So that's because we had the wraparound services. So I mentioned our individualized learning center. The name has changed since, but instead of just providing tutorial support, and this goes back, this is the beautiful piece about this, that partnership and collaboration, it's not just one person, it's many people getting together, realizing and figuring out a way for that student to succeed. So from the instructor to the instructors in the ILC to our librarians who provide library instructions. So they're all working in concert to make sure that this student has every piece of resource that he or she needs. So in the Individualized Learning Center, or the ILC, we tapped into their learning style, their test-taking skills, their study skills. So it's not that people can't learn. It's that we all have different learning styles. And in most institutions or educational institutions, the resources are not there like they are in the community college with those wraparound services. So, you know, you're trying to teach a class and you're trying to get students to move along, but whereas the community college, we have those services where they get one-on-one tutoring. We can tap into their test-taking skills, their study skills, their learning styles. That's a successful recipe.
So before I ask you what people usually realize too late, and now I want to directly ask you, what did you realize too late?
What I realized too late, probably that if I had worked harder, I probably could have been much further along than where I am now. That's it in a nutshell.
Who hurts you more, enemies or friends?
I would say sometimes a combination of both. Enemies, you know where they stand. But sometimes you have friends that don't have your best interests at heart. And they're not really true friends. And so when this is revealed, it is disheartening. You can't and should not let it shake your foundation. There was a time where it did for me, but I would get up, brush my shoulders off, and I vowed to myself that would never happen again. My brother, may he rest in peace, who was the first generation college student, told me that, a long time ago, as you grow professionally, you're gonna have friends that you thought you would be friends with for life. And then you will find out that they mean you harm, or they're not totally in support of your endeavors. And so you're gonna find yourself dropping friends by the wayside in order to accomplish your goal. So I don't sit there and stay in that cesspool. If I see that someone is invading my space in a negative way or bringing negative energy into my space, then I make those adjustments and I move on.
Are you more afraid of being forgotten or being remembered in the wrong way?
Not afraid of either. I'm not afraid of either. I don't even focus on that, because when I'm gone, I'm gone. I would like to be remembered as a person that cared about his family, cared about his community, cared about his state.
But if not?
If not, I'm good. I won't be here anyway.
It's not bothering you?
Doesn't bother me at all. When I'm gone, I'm gone. And I know what I've done. I know the impact that I've had on my community. My family knows, and that's all that matters. So, folks are gonna forget about me anyway after 5 days. Folks will be in the General Assembly if I'm in the General Assembly, God forbid, and everybody will be mourning me, but after a week or so, somebody else will take my place, and that's fine. I've been truly blessed to be able to do what I've been able to do, and I'm okay with that. I don't need to be in the history books. I don't need to have some sort of statue.
But you have this room.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't my doing. That's because of what this company and these folks, they think about me, and I'm deeply honored and touched. So, again, when I'm gone, I'm gone. And so to me, it doesn't matter. I just want people to go on and live life, and I hope that there will be someone else that will be able to step up and continue those values and those good things for the community. Because for me, all I want and ever wanted was, and I know this is a big ask, a peaceful world, a loving world. Not just North Carolina, not just these United States, but other countries and continents. If we all work together, we can accomplish so much. But we are driven by the greed of money and land.
When did you put your life to serve people, even if you know they will forget about you after 5 days?
You said when or
why?
Why? Because, for me, being raised the way I was raised, those values included helping those that are less fortunate. when you get to a certain position in life where you can help others, you do that. And that's the only reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because I want to help people. I want those that are struggling. I want to show them and demonstrate to them there are opportunities out here and you're not forgotten. Our seniors that are struggling, I want to be able to realize opportunities where they can get some relief. I think for any senior that have paid their dues to society, worked 30 or 40 years, they should not be forced to go and stand as a greeter at Walmart or Target at the age of 80. What does that say about us? Our military veterans should not come home after protecting our country and keeping us on safe soil. Should have to come home and live in conditions that are deplorable. What does that say about us?
Are you satisfied?
Am I satisfied
Mm-hmm.
with
What they said about you?
Well, I don't know what most are saying about me, but from folks that come up and tell me they appreciate the work that I'm doing, yes, I'm satisfied.
Have you thought about your life when the politics will over?
Yeah, I thought about it, and I will still be engaged in the community, but I would spend more time at the pickleball court and the tennis court. That's my love. I get up every morning, and I'm out at the pickleball court at 5:30 in the morning. That's my refuge. And so prior to pickleball, I was playing tennis for about 50 years. That's my refuge. So I could see myself every day out there, taking a break, going to get some coffee, lunch, going back in the evening. Yeah, that's my life after this.
When do you plan to do it? When you planning to finish?
I'm not sure. Right now, I still have that drive. Right now, I still have some things I would like to get done legislatively. And I will tell you this, I refuse to be in the political arena at the age of 75 when there's so many young folks out here. And I believe in succession planning. So when you have young folks that are willing and excited about it, I don't think we should block those opportunities. And so often we do. If that's your thing, that's fine. But for me, I will not be in the General Assembly at the age of 75 when there's a younger person that's more fresher in his or her thinking, that can continue those good values and realize more opportunities. It is okay. I've done that. Once I've done that, all that I could do, this is the way it should work. Bring someone else in with a newfound energy to continue to do the good work for the people of North Carolina. So I will tell you this, I don't know when, but I do know at 75, you would not see me in the General Assembly.
And my last question, have you ever thought if everything disappeared tomorrow, who will call you?
If everything disappeared tomorrow, probably my wife. Well, I know my wife.
That's it?
My wife, my daughter.
Your family?
Yeah.
What
My
about-
wife, my daughter.
What about friends?
My friends, yeah, I have a few friends. I know my friends, the Holders. They own the McDonald's here in Nightdale, and Rosalind Keys, who's another business owner. I know they will call, and there's a few other former colleagues I know we'll call it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.